Hey everybody, it is Kevin Strosnider coming to you live from our grand studios at 5200 Oaklawn Boulevard in North Prince George. We are in our next installment of Community Driven, where we have people from episode four of Community Driven, where we have people in our community that we are highlighting and we are letting our community know about what is going on, the great stuff that is going on in our community. And I have with me today the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bill Humphreys, Mr. Crater Community Hospice himself. Bill, thank you so much for coming
today. Thank
you. I appreciate you being here. So I'm going to give you a little bit about Bill, but I can't do it justice. Bill, Crater Community Hospice, obviously, SOVA Chamber, Kiwanis Club of Colonial Heights.
Past chairman of the food pantry.
Past chairman of the food pantry, a caregiver, father, grandfather, an amazing man. All the stuff you do, you have your hands in more things in Colonial Heights and the Tri-Cities area than anybody else I know, I think. So thank you so much for all that you do, first off, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Bill, first, obviously I want to start with the most important thing I think that you do, which is your role at Crater Community Hospice. Tell us a little bit about Crater Community Hospice and then about what your role is there.
Okay. So I've been at Crater for 18 years. 18 years before that, I worked as a pharmacy guy. We did nursing homes and assisted living. And my wife has had multiple sclerosis for 28 years.
Wow.
And so just kind of worked out that the company that I'd worked for decided to kind of downsize.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, Crater was looking for somebody for the community and physician position I had.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's kind of grown over the years. I'm responsible for all the doctors and hospitals and nursing homes education, for the community education. And one of the things that I've been able to do like the last 10 years is work with the patients and families. So I go out and meet with them, discuss kind of what's going on with the serious illness that they have,
Yeah.
and see how we can either help them with hospice or with resources. Because a lot of times we're getting people that are early and we can help them early.
Well, and to that point, Bill, I have called you multiple times over the years about the resources. You talked about the resources multiple times of, hey, Bill, I've got this person I know of that has this and this and this going on. Can you help me out and give them a resource? And you say, give them my number. All right, give them my number. Tell me about the resource connections that you have.
Right. So anybody, and everybody has been somewhat of a caregiver. Either they've done it directly in their, with their family, or even have been a part of a family where it's being done. So most people know that if you're a caregiver, what happens is you need resources. If you don't, you start to burn out. And so, what Crater has allowed me to do, because that we're community owned, we're nonprofit. So our board tells me not just go out and talk about hospice, to go out and help people. So when you call me, it's not a matter of going out and talk to them about hospice.
Mm-hmm.
It's to find out what's going on and then find a resource that they can help them with. Most of the time we're looking at, Kevin, like things like helping with somebody in the home. That's initial. Initially the spouse, it's getting to be too much. And so we'll get calls from the adult children or from somebody in the community on how we can help.
Now, I know a little bit about hospice, and I know when people hear that word, they think end of life. But that's not always the case, correct? I have learned that from you over the years. So tell us a little bit more about what is hospice other than we understand last days. Other than last days, what is hospice?
A good example is when we went through the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
That March, my phone blew up. You say, why? So if you were in the hospital, you were going to have to be in a covered, plastic and all that. People didn't want that for their family. If you were in a facility at that time, you had to stay in your room. And people were calling me and they were saying, Bill, how can we take care of our mom at home? Well, most people can't afford to have 24-hour care.
Yeah.
And so they're looking for any resources there is. And when you have a serious ill patient, there's very few. So with hospice, they started asking, well, Bill, tell me what it is. And I think they were surprised. I mean, Kevin, basically, it's a team of people that come to the home, nurse, aide, a 24-hour nurse that can come on call, okay? So for example, I had a friend that, we have his mother right now. He said, Bill, I had to call you guys twice at 2 days in a row at 3:00 in the morning. He said, I couldn't believe how the nurse came in, was so professional. And what we do that kind of allows for that, and again, this is our board and Zach, our CEO, they work a week, they're off a week, and they get paid for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So that way, because you can just imagine
Yeah.
at night when you're coming in, you gotta be really on top of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now tell me about the board, because most hospices are privately owned businesses, correct?
Yes.
Crater Community Hospice is different. Tell us about the difference between
Right. So we're getting ready to celebrate 30 years next year.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And the initial talk is maybe to do something over at the Tractor Museum.
Oh, wow.
I hope I'm
cool.
not going to get in trouble and putting out but anyway,
We won't tell anybody, Bill.
No. So we're celebrating 30 years. What happened was there was somebody that needed to come out of University of Virginia
Uh-huh.
down to Oakland. And at that time, there were only 2 hospices in the area. They didn't go below Chester. So the volunteers of John Randolph back then and Southside Regional together put together Crater Community Hospice.
Wow. Wow. And it is, so tell us about it, like how's it run? I know you have
Right.
Zach is the
Yep. So
director.
volunteer board.
Volunteer
all right.
board. Uh-huh.
And we have just had some incredible board members over the years.
Uh-huh.
Our first building was right over here at the shopping center. That's
Uh-huh.
where we started.
Really?
Yep. A lot of people remember us when we were over off 95 next to the swimming pool.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And we had just grown to the size where we needed a bigger place. And the gentleman who owned the furniture store in Petersburg was a supporter. And, we own that building.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to the community, we're one of the few nonprofits that own their own building.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now tell me a little bit more about you. And at one point, and I know with life is busy and lots of things. You already mentioned that you are a caregiver for your wife. Tell me, you have a lot of times been involved in doing classes and seminars outside of work and things to help support caregivers, because you can speak from experience of what you've done. Tell me about what's going on. Do you have any of those things going on?
Yeah.
Right now?
So I do a talk, and I do a couple of them, but one is I call it how to avoid a caregiver crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got through doing one last week at a church in Chester. And, what I try to do is a couple things. One, get them to know me so that, when they need a resource, they can call me. The second one is if they can walk away with one idea, it's, going to help them. I mean, one of the things that most people don't understand, it's hard to get caregiver training because they're busy.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, they're going to church, they have enough time to maybe go to Sunday school. A lot of times I'll go and I'll speak with the Sunday schools. So I'm glad I can do anywhere from 20 minutes with your civic group.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, in 20 minutes, they can get to know me. Or I can do a half hour, or believe it or not, a minister in Petersburg had me do the 11 o'clock service.
Oh, wow.
Oh man,
Wow.
blew me away.
That's neat. That's really, really neat. Speaking of civic groups, you are highly involved in a particular civic group, the Colonial Heights Kiwanis. Tell us about that. What's going on with that, and what's your involvement there?
Yeah, so I'm going on year 15.
Wow.
Last year I was blessed to be the president.
Uh-huh.
There have been some incredible presidents and leaders of the Colonial Heights Kiwanis.
Yeah.
So people always say, what, especially younger folks, what is Kiwanis?
Yeah.
It's all about kids, okay? And if you just remember that, it's whatever we can do for kids in our area. So most people, we touch them at all kinds of different places. One is in schools. We go and we read at the schools, in the elementary schools. Then we have the Terrific Kid program. And that's really where I first became aware of Kiwanis. Taylor got it one time.
Okay.
Melanie framed the certificate. I mean, it just was a big deal.
Oh, wow.
And so we go, and a lot of times it's not the kid that is academically maybe doing the best. The teacher picks somebody that just needs a little bit more. And it's so cool, Kevin, to see them, their face light up, you know. We also have the Key Club, and that's for the high school kids.
What is that exactly?
So, sure. So they start to learn leadership, okay, and also giving back. So they'll do projects like coat drive, or they've done that, and food pantry and other things. So that is another place where we are in the schools.
And y'all do some scholarships?
Yep.
In that? Yeah.
Yep. So we provide 7 scholarships.
Wow.
Yep. And that comes from the Shrimp Feast. Thank you guys for being a part of that, and being a longtime partner with us on that. The other things that we do is the food pantry. We're involved with them. What's cool about our members is it's not just the projects we do. We go and get involved in other community projects. So you probably know about, what Kat and her group are doing with Alibis.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And so Michael Benwick and Tricia Balmer, they're in our club. They immediately got involved in it, and so that's what we're real excited about is our members are not just doing the things that we do. Yeah. They're out helping other community projects.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned the food pantry. You mentioned your time in the past with the food pantry. Tell us about that.
So Charlie Towns, again, this is a thing of, we were members, and one day at a meeting, Charlie goes, I want you to go with me to a food pantry meeting. Okay. So that led to being on the board, which led to being chairman. And I did it for 3 years. And it was probably the coolest thing I've ever done. Because when you see people that are in a spot and they need a little help, and the food pantry's there, and really, it's very cool.
Do you know about how many people the Colonial Heights Food Pantry helps every
Oh
month?
my gosh, since COVID, I will tell you this, when I was there, it was growing to the point, Kevin, of I was unsure if we would be able to continue to serve as many as we were.
Really?
What happened during COVID is it just blew up.
That's awesome.
And so Warren over there has done
Warren does
awesome.
a great job.
They just had their first golf tournament, was very successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for them.
So, and the good thing about the food pantry, every dollar they're using, for the people that they can help. Yeah.
That's amazing. Also, I know something that you have been a part of for a very long time as well, and this is how you and I met, was BNI. Now, BNI, for those of you who don't know anything about BNI, it's stands for Business Networking International, and it is a business networking group. However, the particular group that you are part of and that I was part of as well for about 9 years or so is a little bit different than just a business networking group. It's a group of people, friends who truly love each other in the community. So tell me about BNI a little bit, your involvement there.
So the group that I belong in is called Soaring Heights BNI, and you just said it. We officially are the longest together group. Retention, I guess, would be the word. We've been together longer than any other group as a whole.
Wow.
And it shows, because like you say, we are, there's a lot of family in what we do. What's really cool is to see younger members come in and grab onto the other members and their experience. And there's a lot of successful leaders that have been developed out of that group.
Yeah. So Bill, the list is almost too much to talk about. Your involvement with Crater Community Hospice, your involvement with being a resource in the community, Kiwanis, the food pantry, BNI, and that just is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the Colonial Heights Soccer Association. You coached soccer for years, right? So many things that you've had your hands in, and the best part about this, and for those of you who know Bill, you're going to say amen, and those of you who don't know Bill, you're about to learn. The best part is it's not about Bill Humphreys. It's about what Bill Humphreys can do for other people. It's about other people. And so thank you for that, for being a model example of a citizen in our communities. You're a great man. I appreciate that very much. So we're going to wrap this up real quick. I've got a few questions for you real quick. Question number one. So I like reading books. I like developing and growing and becoming better every single day. What books would you say have impacted your life, either one or two or whatever? What book would you say and recommend to other people?
Well, for me, it was really impacted me in college and also career-wise was Principles of Marketing by Peter Drucker.
Okay.
Peter Drucker, if people have not had a chance to go back, because sometimes I guess you could say he's old school, but going back and looking at the things that he talked about has impacted me in a lot of ways.
Awesome.
Not just, from a marketing standpoint, but also really through life.
That's awesome. If you had the opportunity, all right, the whole world's paying attention to you, and you had a minute to give them a piece of advice. If you had a minute for the whole world to listen to Bill Humphreys, what would you tell them?
Go find somebody and help them today.
That's simple, huh?
I mean, we all, talk about having a bad day and things aren't going real well.
Mm-hmm.
But the advice that was given to me years ago was go find somebody and help them.
That's amazing. It's so simple but so profound.
Right?
Just go find
All of a
somebody.
sudden, your day's not so bad.
That's awesome. I love it, Bill. Last question, probably the most important question. What's your favorite car?
First off, is my Strosnider.
You don't have to put a plug in.
Well, my Nissan, and as a matter of fact, when we're finished here, it's time to go make an appointment.
No
oil change.
What's your dream car? You can pick any car, or do you not care?
I don't care.
You don't care. You're just that kind of guy.
I will say this for a true story. So I drove the heck out of the car that I had, and the AC was kind of so. And I called Candy from Waverly one day, and I said, Candy, it was like 100 degrees outside. And I said, I want to come and look at some cars. She goes, well, what's important to you, Bill? I said that it has air conditioning. So when I pulled up out here, she had the car running and had the thing freezing. She said, I think the AC's okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a great story. Well, Bill, last thing real quick, grief workshop series y'all have going on with Crater Community Hospice.
Right.
Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah, so Angie Morris is our person, the facilitator.
Mhm.
And, sometimes I think people are a little bit skeptical about thinking that, it's not going to be a positive experience. This has been an excellent series for us. And it's starting in October the 24th. And so all you got to do is, you can go online, or Crater Community Hospice, or you can just call the office and, get signed up for
That's
it.
awesome. So if you can't see that little tight in there, October 24th through November 21st, every Thursday from 10:30 to 12. It's free, open to the public.
You're going to be at the office.
At the
Yes,
office, okay. Yeah. Just call Crater Community Hospice. Just look them up online, call them. They'll give you more information. But please, if you are dealing with grief and you need some help with that, they're a great resource. Or if you know somebody else that might need that. And sometimes, Bill, that's not just people who have lost loved ones, but people who are in the process of losing.
I was reading one time, it said that when you get your hair cut, you have grief. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing I just wanted to say to you, you know, people get scared when they see my phone call.
Mhm.
Okay. You always take my phone call. I've asked you for a lot of stuff for people over the years, and you always help me, and I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, glad to do it. We have a little something for you, Bill. Last thing, just a little gift from us to you. Thank you for all that you do. Appreciate you being
Thank
here
you
today.
very much.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for episode 4 of Community Driven, and we will see you next time.